Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
The energy revealed. Brooklyn to Queens, reppin' both hoods. Rob and CP, keep it fire, misunderstood. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline greens, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. Rob hype on the mic, CP's the fire spark. Together they ignite, voices like the park. Fans dripped in jerseys, legacy bold. The Metropolitan story forever told. Turnstile spinning, the crowd floods the gates. This is family, no time for debates. Crack of the Batman, the roar never fades. Queens in the blood, it's how champions are made. Cheer 'em all loud, let the anthem flow. Mets fans unite at the pregame show. From city stand lights to the skyline gleams, it's the heartbeat of Queens, the craziest dreams. 7-line swagger, vibes electric and wild. Mets legacy golden since I was a child. Orange crushed skies, let the battle ignite. Ride for the home team till the last fight.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel and on X. I am doing a solo show today as Chris couldn't join us for the pregame, but he will be doing the postgame while I'm out and about celebrating hopefully a Mets win and a series win before I head home tomorrow back to the good old state of North Carolina. But we are very, very pleased today as Mets fans, as it was just a solid game for the New York Mets. They put better at-bats together yesterday. They got a starting pitching performance that probably a lot of people did not expect from Tyler McGill. It looked like in that fourth inning, he kind of was like, all right, give him a couple of hits, walking a hit, and you're like, all right, me and Chris were talking about this blow-up moment. There's usually one of them, and he pulled through it, got the job done, and pleasantly surprised. McGill did what he did yesterday. Obviously, the lineup is not up yet. It's too early. But you got the guys who gave the RBIs for the New York Mets and Soto, Vientos, and Winker. You got Tyler McGill, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. I think that was the key more than anything else, was just the 1 walk. Because McGill, if he doesn't have his fastball and he doesn't locate that fastball, he really doesn't have off-speed breaking ball pitches that are good enough that he can throw in the strike zone. His fastball is what makes everything else work. And, we said that about Clay Holmes, the same thing. We say that about Griffin Cannon. We're going to say about all these starting pitchers. Their fastball sets up the rest of their pitches. Tyler McGill had his fastball working. He was locating. The umpires sucked yesterday, made some bad calls where I thought he had a couple of strikeouts, and he didn't. But Robert, yeah, I'm not wearing a cowboy hat. Now I'm going to stick to my own roots, my New York roots. Everybody else can wear the cowboy hats if they want to. I'm just going to go with the outing shirt today. If you guys see it, it's a skull with the cowboy hat, 7-Line Army opening week road trip, Texas road trip. So we have about 1,300 people that are going to be in the group. We're between, I think, section 413 to 417. So we have 1,300 people just in that group for this outing tonight. And God knows how many other Met fans. So you're probably going to see well over 4,000 or 5,000 Met fans, because there was a lot yesterday, because everybody who's going to the outing today, a lot of people came in yesterday and went to the game. So, and I know you guys heard when Juan Soto hit that home run, how loud it got. And I also know you probably heard the overrated chants from the Astros fans, and he shut them up really quickly. So no cowboy hat for me, and definitely no cowboy boots. My knees can't handle that. I tell you that right now, especially my feet. So, but good news is that we did get the win. Tyler McGill pitched well. Juan Soto hit a shot to right field and shut up that fan base. That cheating fan base. But again, they beat the Yankees, so I don't really have that many hard feelings for them. But still, they chanted overrated a couple of times when Soto came up, which is hilarious to me. But that's okay. That's okay. They can't afford him, so they would never get him anyway. So Mark Vientos, you got a lot of 1-for-4s, 1-for-3s today in yesterday's game. It wasn't. You just saw better at bats. You had a couple of more walks. The lineup had I think 11 strikeouts in the game. So they struck out a lot, but it was competitive at bats. They had a lot of long at bats. They had a lot of full count at bats, which is exactly what you need to do, especially a guy like Hunter Brown, who, has great stuff. And he was another one that got screwed a couple times on calls, but it benefited us, so nobody cares. But he got screwed a couple times on calls, and it actually ended up hurting him because a couple of times when he thought he had the strikeout, the next pitch came and the Mets did a little bit of damage. And I like the lineup we saw yesterday. What I don't like, and everybody's probably going to start talking about it. Somebody brought it up. I think it was Brad about Brandon Nimmo. If I'm not mistaken, I think I saw a stat that in 2 games, he left either 12 or 13 men left on base. He left the majority of the men on base. I know there was others, but I think Nimmo had the bases loaded once on opening day. Then he had 2 runners on at another at bat, and then he had 1 more on. So I think in one game he had like 7 or 8 runners left on base out of the 10, 11 they had left on base. And then yesterday, I think he left another 4. So, Brandon Nimmo, and I like Brandon Nimmo. I really do. I don't like the new philosophy or the new approach that he has. I think he could still hit the 20 home runs without overdoing his approach at the plate, because I think it takes away from the things that he does really well just to hit a few more home runs. I just don't understand it. How many times have we seen Nimmo hit the ball up the middle with runners on base and, drive into? Now he looks like he's over swinging. He has a huge uppercut swing now. And it's a little frustrating. I'm glad he's healthy. He's playing the field the last 2 games. I want to see who's playing today. Maybe it'll be a little bit different. I don't think Torrens is going to play today. I think you're going to see Hayden Sanger on the mound with Griffin Cannon, which I like, by the way, because if you guys paid attention to Griffin Cannon starts, Senga actually caught a couple of more games than Luis Torrens and even Reitz at the time during spring training. So I think that's a good matchup to see. We've seen a lot of good things. Well, Ken, that's exactly the point. And I can't click on the comments again. Is StreamYard just not making me do it? But I'm trying to read your comments while I talk about it. Yeah, he does swing at everything. He swings at every first pitch. He did it yesterday as well. And that's why I don't like his approach. I can deal with him hitting 17 home runs. He don't need to hit 20-plus home runs. Like, he can do so much more damage by doing what he's always done. Bases loaded, there's no reason. There's nothing wrong with you taking a walk with the bases loaded. That's a run for us. And, when we were down 2 or 3 runs on opening day, we could have kept the rally going by him taking a walk instead of swinging at the first pitch. And that's what he's done in both games so far, and I just don't like the approach. I don't know if it's the mindset of him batting 4th or 5th, and he's right in the middle of that lineup. And I know you're not going to move Juan Soto to put Brandon Nimmo in the 2 spot, but let's be really honest here, guys. Brandon Nimmo's best 2 spots in the lineup are blocked by Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor, and you're not moving those 2 guys. Lindor has been struggling, but again, he's a slow starter. He will get killed, and I will kill him. He had bad at bats yesterday as well, and I don't. It was great that he had an MVP type season last year, but him amongst others had terrible month and a half that put us in the position we were in last year to fight to the very end to make the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but you're not moving Lindor out of the leadoff spot, and you're not moving Soto out of the 2 hole. And Brandon Nimmo, you're not moving him down past the 5th spot. What are you going to bat him? 6th, 7th, 8th? Maybe you bat him 9th, but I don't even think the Mets would even do that. So that's the issue that you have with Brandon Nimmo. Brandon Nimmo, I know he had 90 RBIs last year, 89 RBIs last year. Wonderful. But you lost a lot with Brandon Nimmo. You lost on base. You have more strikeouts. You have less walks. You have less average. So everything that he's really good at went down. And the thing that, people seem to care about around baseball is, well, he hit 4 more home runs or 5 more home runs than the year before. Well, who cares? Like it seems it looks good on paper, but when you watch it every day and you go through the season, and that's why when people just look at stats, especially the main stats, the home runs, the average, the RBIs, and maybe like slugging, and they're like, oh, look at the OPS, and they're like, oh, look what he did. But if you really look into and you watch him every day, more often than not, he has games like the last 2 days, and there'll be one game where he explodes, and then he'll go on another 2 or 3 game low. And that's what Brandon Nimmo's have been since 2022. Even the great year that he had, if you really look at it. Yeah, well, Ken, that's what I'm saying. So, that's the point I'm trying to make. He had, before the All-Star break, he had like we were talking about him having 100 RBIs, 100 plus RBIs. But when you have the approach like he does, who is a person that is not a 30 home run guy, he probably is not even pushing 25 home runs. And I don't believe he's a big run producer because I think it takes away from his best part of his game. And when you got Juan Soto, when you got Pete Alonso, when you got Vientos, your main run producers in your lineup, Nimmo isn't that. He's not set up for that. I think he could still hit 18 to 20 home runs by doing what he has been doing. Jump on a pitch every now and then and, knock one over the wall. But having that approach every at bat, especially in the situations he's found himself in the first 2 nights, is worrisome to me. And that's why I keep on saying the same thing. The Mets did not give a big contract to Brandon Nimmo. One, they signed him as a center fielder, and we already know that already changed, which is fine. You got him in left field. It worked out for us. Great. But they signed him based on what he has done. And you gave him that big contract from what he's done for the Brandon Nimmo that we've seen with the high on base, the high walks, the low strikeouts, the pretty decent average, and the 15 to 17 home runs, which is perfectly fine. And I think they changed Brent. I think Nimmo had something to do with this, but the Mets as a team, because they didn't have much in their lineup other than Pete Alonso at the time, a few years ago, and there wasn't much power. We complained about the power a couple of years ago. That was an issue. So they were looking around like, all right, who's the mainstay in this lineup? Hey, Brandon, let's see if you can hit more power. And again, if you change your approach, I don't care who you are, and you change your launch angle, you change your approach at the plate and look for home runs, you're probably going to hit a little bit more home runs. And I don't see a big difference of 16 home runs to 20 home runs for Brandon Nimmo. Because, again, if he has a big game today, yeah, we're going to cheer because, it helps us win. But would anybody be shocked he'll go into the Miami series and struggle the next 3 games? That's what he does. Yeah, Ken, I agree with you. I don't think it's going to change. Excuse me. But I don't really think it's going to benefit the team as a whole. Because, again, you just look at his stats last year, you're like, not bad. But you watched him every day. Everybody in the chat watched him every day. I watched him every day. People, you watch MLB Network, they talk about Brandon Nimmo like he's hit, he's had 100 RBIs in his career, and he's a 25 home run guy. He never was that. So, completely changing him to a person he's not, because, again, the Mets probably needed that. But one of your better players who's been successful and got a contract because of what he did well in a lot of aspects of hitting, and he played center field, which is a premium position at the time, it made sense. And you understand why. But it just, I understood the logic because of what they needed at the time. But at some point, does anybody believe that Brandon Nimmo's going to get between 90 and 100 RBIs? I don't believe that. I really don't. And again, you know how hard it is to hit only 20 home runs and to get close to 100 RBIs, that means your average got to be at least 270, 280, because you got to put the bat on the ball more, and it's got to be in the ballpark to score those runs. So would I rather have a 270 hitter for Brandon Nimmo, around 75 to 80 RBIs, and 17 home runs? Because that means he puts the bat on the ball more. And listen, we could have used him putting the bat on the ball more a little bit in the last 2 games. And I know he hit like 2 balls hard over the last 2 days, and they got caught. Wonderful. But that's one at-bat. What about the other at-bats where he struck out, where he just, a lowly ground ball, a lowly pop-up? But, and Mike, I do agree. The numbers don't tell the whole story. That's why, we've had arguments in the past about Pete Alonso. When you look at the stats, yeah, they look great, but break it down last year. You gotta break it down with every play, not just the guys that we're talking about, but just in general. And that's where you see, and Ken, I agree with you, 270, 350 on base percentage, that's beautiful. Because if you take away 3 or 4 home runs, but pick up your average 30 points from the year before, that means that those times that you were trying to hit home runs and batting 240, more often than not, you're either striking out or not getting a hit, and obviously not getting a home run. So overall, it hurts. And, I'd rather have Brandon Nimmo successful throughout, the majority of the season as the guy that we knew of Brandon Nimmo, because his type of game stretches out throughout an entire season. Everybody has a cold streak, but his type of game stretches out through the entire season. So, Nimmo seemed like when he was that guy, he never went on long slumps because he walked, he got on base. When he goes into slumps now, it's like he's a ghost. He's gone. Like, you don't even notice him. Like, he disappears. And that's the difference. When Brandon Nimmo was struggling offensively, putting the bat on the ball or getting hits when he was, the on-base guy, the high walk guy, Brandon Nimmo, he still found a way to get on base when he wasn't hitting. That's why he was so good for us when we needed him to be on base for other guys, like the Pete Alonsos of the world, like the Lindors when they were batting 3-4. So that's the issue. When he slumps now, you don't expect him to do anything because he doesn't walk a lot anymore. His on base is much lower. His strikeouts are up. So when he slumps, he doesn't help the team at all in any aspect of the offensive categories. And that's where it hurts us. Phil, no, I'm not a Yankees fan, but I'm not doubting the player, but let's be honest. When you leave over 10 men left on base in 2 games, and this has been a problem. This wasn't just 2 games. This was also last year where Brandon Nimmo was nowhere to be found. And we can talk about injuries all we want, but when you're on the field, I don't want to hear about injuries. And that goes for any player. If you're on the field, that means you're telling everybody you're good enough to play. So you have to perform. You can't say, oh, well, I had plantar fasciitis. I had this, I had that. Well, then don't play. Put somebody out there that's healthy who can help this team. So it's not a negative situation. It's not a negative situation. I'm stating the facts. You don't want to hear it, then ignore it. Ignore the facts. And then when Brandon Nimmo leaves another 5 men left on base today, what are you just going to blow over it and talk about the strikeout that Tyrone Taylor had because you want to talk about Tyrone Taylor? You want to talk about the bottom of the order? No, I'm talking about a guy who is put by this organization the last 2 seasons in premium run producing spots. Batting 3, batting 4, and batting 5. First 2 games, he bat 5th and he bat 4th yesterday. Today, he's probably going to bat 4th again. Maybe. And maybe they'll change it up, but I doubt it because they like the lefty-righty. So he's going to be in that premium position spot because, again, you're not taking Soto out of the 2-hole. You're not taking Lindor out of the leadoff spot. And that's where I think Brandon Nimmo thrives, in his game. So unless you're going to bat him ninth, which I find that very hard to believe, it is what it is. But we left, let's see, what is it? 18 men left on base in 2 games. And again, the Mets bullpen has been outstanding. 7 1/3. I think they didn't give up any runs. 1 walk, a good amount of strikeouts. I saw it earlier, but the bullpen has been outstanding. Regardless of who they brought in. They brought in Brazaban in opening day. Danny Young. I mean, look at that. You had Stanek in, you had Minter in. Like, it was really, really, really good. You had Reed Garrett in, and then Diaz. It was outstanding. It's outstanding. And let's be honest. Miguel pitched well, but the bullpen basically, took care of business. Like, there wasn't a lot of pressurized situations in the game, except when Miguel got pulled out of the game and Reed Garrett came in. That was the only moment. When the bullpen came in, everybody did their job. I know Minter walked the guy, but he still got the job done. Like, there wasn't a lot of pressure. The ninth inning, I mean, that was probably the best we've seen Diaz since 2022. He was throwing strikes. And you know how it is. Everybody, it was so funny. Like, I was sitting with a bunch of Met fans, obviously, next to me, and everybody was like, all right, so how many people Edwin Diaz is going to put on? Because it's just expected he's going to, like, put people on. But when he throws the first pitch out of the bullpen against the batter, if it's way off the plate, you're like, uh-oh. But when he threw a bullet right down the middle, we looked at each other like, okay. He was spot on yesterday. And that if we can get, I don't want to say, oh, let's get Edwin Diaz of 2022. We all would sign on the dotted line for that. But give me close to that, where you can just feel really damn confident that when Diaz comes in, it's shut down, close, win the game, put it in the books. So, Joel, you weren't the only one about Miguel. And once again, guys, I apologize for not clicking on the comment to put it up. So I'm going to say the name, who's saying it, and then I'm just going to explain. But, excuse me. Yeah, Miguel in the 4th inning, we got, the first 2 men on, and then Reed Garrett came in. I'm like, oh. And me and Chris in the pregame, what were we talking about? We were talking about when is the blow-up inning going to happen? And again, Mendoza did a great job. He did not let that happen. And that was, again, these are the little things that a lot of people don't talk about during the season. That was a great managerial decision by Mendoza. Didn't wait. He was at 80, maybe 80-something pitches. Didn't wait for him to see if he can get out of it. He goes, you know what? I got a pretty solid bullpen. I got a pretty fresh bullpen because of what Brazaban and Danny Young did the night before and saved the bullpen. If the Clay Holmes went 4 1/3, 2/3, and he's like, you know what? Let's just get a fresh arm in there. Miguel had a good start. Let's put him on a high note, and Reed Garrett did the job. So that's the little things that a lot of people didn't talk about. Like, you heard everybody talk. Juan Soto was all over social media with the home run, which is understandable. First Mets home run, cool. Sucked that it was on Apple TV. We couldn't hear Gary Cohen's call, but you did get Keith Rad on the radio, which was a pretty good call. But we didn't get the Gary Cohen call, which sucks. Even though Wayne Randazzo on Apple TV did a pretty damn good job. So obviously he was a former Mets radio announcer, and he had that jump pep in his voice. So I like that Wayne Randazzo, a former Mets announcer, did it instead of somebody that ESPN that has terrible calls and anybody else. So good for them. But it was all about the Juan Soto first home run, and besides the people in the stands, because everybody was like, are they going to take him out? Are they going to get him out? And then sure enough, Mendoza came out and says, all right, let's go. Let's get it going. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at the comments. Phil, I'm not sure what are you talking about. Go back. I don't know. Whatever. Well, that's the thing. So that, Pete Alonso hasn't done much. I mean, he had a shot yesterday, and, Myers made a great catch. I had a good angle, and I didn't know if he got all of it. It sounded good, but he just missed it. What are you going to do? Right? You hit it that good. The guy makes a great catch. It's like, put your hands up in the air and says, oh, shit. But that's the good thing about Pete Alonso. Right now, we talked about this in spring. He's laying off that slider well outside the zone. He isn't fishing for it. He's taking his walks. He's not trying to do too much. And that is the best Pete Alonso that we've known for the 6-7 years he's been in this organization. That's when he's good, where he isn't fishing for pitches, where he's willing to take the walks. Because eventually the pitchers are going to make mistakes. And, unfortunately, Myers made a nice catch in center field, and Hunter Brown made a mistake, and he just missed it. So let the pitcher make the mistake. If he walks you, fine. You got Vientos, or I know Brandon Nimmo's struggling, but you got Vientos, you'll have Nimmo behind you, one of those two guys. And most of the time you're going to have Vientos behind you. Not the worst thing in the world getting Vientos up with somebody on. So, I like the approach from Pete Alonso, not trying to do too much. And when they make a mistake, you crush it. Stanley Acuna is better defensively than Beatty. Yeah, we all believe that, but he did make a terrible throwing error on opening day. He made a really nice play yesterday coming in for Brett Beatty later in the game as he pinched it from when the lefty came in. So that was a nice diving play up between first and second in the hole. That was a really nice play. That was an important play because if he didn't get that ball, it would have been first and third with, I think, 1 out. So it was an important play. It was a really nice play. He looked terrible at the plate, Acuna. I mean, I don't know what he was swinging at. And he's another one that's got to stop trying to hit home runs because all he's doing is trying to hit home runs. Again, Brett Beatty didn't do anything. A lowly pop-up. He didn't look good at the plate. And again, I don't know what to expect from him. He's going against Major League pitching. It was his first outing. He's probably going to get the start again today. The lineup nod is out. But what about these two names? You got Griffin Cannon against Spencer Arrighetti. How about that? That's a tie-in if I ever seen it. So Griffin Cannon against Spencer Arrighetti, both righties on the mound. Mike, I think every game's a winnable game. I don't like going into a game saying, probably gonna lose. I never think like that. There will never be a pregame I come on. I don't care who's pitching. I don't care who's in the lineup. I don't care. Every game I expect to win. And I know that's obviously impossible. We can't go, 161-1. I mean, we all love that, but it's, come on, So, but I never go into a game expecting to lose. Now, would I be more confident in certain games? Sure. Like yesterday, I wasn't confident because of the Mets at-bats on opening day. They just didn't seem prepared. They seemed to jump on a lot of pitches. They were out in front of a lot of pitches. And I know Valdez is really good, but Hunter Brown actually had a better season than Framber Valdez last year. And Hunter Brown has nasty stuff. Now, his location wasn't good, and that set up the Mets at-bats where when they made mistakes, they capitalized on it, which is just good hitting by the Mets. But I was more confident on opening day, not because of Clay Holmes, because I thought the Mets offense would be prepared. They weren't. And that kind of cost them because, they didn't score. They scored 1 run. And leaving 10 men left on base in that game cost you the game. So yesterday, I felt like the Mets were going to bounce back. I wasn't sure we were going to get from McGill. Obviously, I said that in the pregame. But I expected the Mets offense to wake the hell up and be like, what the hell did you guys do yesterday? Now, they weren't very efficient when it comes to, they got the 3 runs, but they did left another 8 men left on base or 7 men left on base. So it's kind of, you left 17 men left on base in 2 games, that's got to be better. Because when you face, Astros are a good team, but when you face the elite of the elite, they're going to capitalize on those mistakes and those missed chances. So, yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't really care about the Yankees. Like, I really don't. They are still crying about, they were quiet yesterday, right? It was an off day for the Yankees. And I can assure you, they were watching the Mets games to see what Soto does, and they were very quiet on social media yesterday, which obviously. And I love that somebody posted when in October during the playoffs, they were chanting "Resign Soto," and then on opening day they were chanting "Fuck Juan Soto." So, oops. So you're full of shit. And we all know that they are. But let's be honest. Yankee fans, shut up. If you would have signed him, it would have been all okay. But you didn't. Your owner's broke. He didn't want to spend the extra couple $1 million to get the player that actually performs in the playoffs, unlike your quote-unquote superstar that comes up small in the playoffs. So too bad for you. And you get to watch Bellinger and struggle against a Milwaukee team that lost their best player last year in, Willie Adames, and their best closer, who is on the Yankees now, who almost blew it. So there you go. Is what it is. But the good news is, guys, is that we got a rubber game today, and I'm going to call it a show in about a minute or two here because the lineup's not going to come out for probably another hour and a half or so. But I'm going to be heading to because today's the 7 line out in for the group. Again, 1,300 Met fans, 7 line, all wearing this shirt, the blue shirt, going to the game, and of course, many, many other Met fans. But they're doing a pregame party at one of the local bars near the stadium. And then, you probably see it all on social media, us marching from the bar to the stadium. And we're going to be very loud. We already know that. So I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. I know it's all these 3 games were very early pregames. But again, I'm in Houston. I'm about 10 minutes away from the stadium walking. So it takes time. Getting around, they roadblock every freaking thing in Houston. So they cut off all these streets. So they only, it's not easy to get through. And, a 10-minute walk can turn into 20 minutes. So, first time here for me. So, I got to look at the stadium, check the foods out and all that fun stuff as well. But I do appreciate you guys hanging out on the very limited, very short pregame show right here on the channel. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't subscribed to Chris's channel yet, please do as well, because Ken, I didn't rent the car, so I've been walking in Ubering this whole 3-4 days. So they ain't no drinking and driving, drinking and walking maybe, but not drinking and driving. So no driving for me. So look, the keys to success, Dolo, the food's fine, pretty good. I mean, the restaurants around here, everybody knows about the barbecue here. Excellent, authentic Mexican restaurants here. I've ate so much good food around here. I haven't had any complaints. The food in Minute Maid, Talkin Park, is good. It's not great. I had, I always, because my big thing is going to Citi Field and getting the chicken fingers and fries. That's just a staple that I usually get. It's like a tradition for me. So I told myself, anytime I go to another stadium, I want to see their chicken tenders and fries, because it's just cool. I just want to see, how many chickens they give you, how many, how much fries, the combination of sauces. By far, Houston has the best chicken tenders and fries because they give you 12 options of different dipping sauces. And it ranges from spicy honey mustard to spicy ketchup, spicy honey barbecue. Everything you can think of. Any type of dipping sauce, and it's awesome. So far, Citi Field and Houston have the best chicken tenders and fries combo with the sauces is awesome. Yeah, Ken, I don't know. I don't even know what it is. I don't care to know what it is, but the logo is stupid. Like, you could see they removed the Minute Maid sign, and the Talkin sign is so small, it looks like a big gap in where the Minute Maid sign was and where Talkin is, park name is now. So it's a little weird. It's not a good sign. They got the train that had the oranges in it. Now it's baseballs with like the World Series logo on it, championship and all that stuff. That's cool. The stadium's nice. Look, the stadium's 20 years old, right? This is their 20th anniversary. 20th? Yeah. 25th anniversary as they opened up in 2000. So for a stadium that's 25 years old, pretty good shape. Now you could see that, it's been around 25 years. You can see the seats, the paint jobs, so yeah, it's all right. It's okay. But it's a nice ballpark. It's cool. They had a fireworks night last night. And don't worry, guys, either today or probably tomorrow night, I'm going to post all my pictures that I took. It was fireworks night last night. So the roof was closed during the game. And after the game, they opened up the roof for the fireworks. And you had downtown Houston with the skyline with the fireworks is pretty cool. So I got the videos. I got pictures of Juan Soto rounding the bases, stepping on home plate, raising his fingers to the sky and all that. So I got all the pictures from Houston, and today's going to be a hell of a lot more pictures as I'm bringing, really good cameras and just taking a lot of pictures probably of the group and everything else that we do. So make sure you look out for that on the community page, the post page where I'm going to post all the pictures as well. And just follow me on X or Instagram or wherever. All the names are the same. I post those pictures all over the place. So check out there, guys. So once again, guys, I want to thank you for watching the Amazing Mets pregame show right here on the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Unfortunately, we didn't get the lineups because it's too early, but it's going to be a very similar lineup that from yesterday because it's ready on the mound. Maybe you'll see Jose Siri in today over Tyrone Taylor. You might see Hayden Senga in for Terrence. We'll see. But rubber game today, guys, tonight. See if the Mets do their job of Griffin counting on the mound against Spencer Arrighetti. What a name. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. And Chris will see you tonight on the post-game show right after the game. Solo show for him. I won't be able to make the post-game show, but he'll hold it down as always, guys. With that said, have a good night. Let's go Mets and enjoy the game, guys. See you next time on the show. Have a good day, guys.
Bob on the mic, spitting truth.
Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life because the Mets are really socking the ball.